what the pandemic has done is to focus our minds on the importance of what I call the humanistic city, placing the human at the center of the city once again. At a time when we have moved so much into focusing on growth, innovation, the economy, physical infrastructures, the race for the tallest buildings, the largest Ferris wheels in the world, etc., what the pandemic has done is to refocus our attention on what living in a city means for the human individual. And that, I think, is something that entails drawing our attention to basic physiological needs again, not just in terms of, access to food and water as you think about in the desert or in rough environments, but in the very city itself. So things to do with food poverty, things to do with supply chain disruptions, and how all of that is shifting the way in which we think about the importance of basic physiological needs, which we have come to take for granted. I think also that, if I might return to the sometimes vilified concept of the hierarchy of needs that Maslow has talked about, physiological needs is one level, but safety needs have been foregrounded. And it's not just safety from animals and marauding hordes in days gone by, but it is public safety, health, public health, and issues like that we have taken for granted to a certain extent, which the pandemic has drawn to our attention again. And emotional and psychological needs, that we might be living in the city but be isolated. How do we refocus our attention on building a humanistic city that addresses these fundamental physiological, safety, emotional, psychological needs? And I think that's where listening urban leaders are so important. Urban leaders who are sensitive to the humanistic city, recognizing the needs of the human individual, again, in its very fundamental form, and addressing that. And so, urban leaders, urban managers have been sort of attracted by new technologies, AI, data analytics, all of that helps with the planning. And I think all that is absolutely critically important and can improve the ways in which we plan cities. But at the same time, listening is not just through data. Listening is through the heart as well. And recognizing the needs of your citizens, social inequalities, spatial inequalities, and how we're addressing those things. And so as an educational institution, we are particularly interested in how we are nurturing the next generation of listening leaders. And that comes with interdisciplinary learning, and that comes with a faith in the strength and robustness of science, including human and social sciences. And that's where the research that institutions like ours do become critical. And I'd love to share more, but as a beginning ambit, I'd like to just put on the table that we need to return to a humanistic city. We need to prepare urban leaders, or leaders more generally, who are conscious of the humanistic city and the role of educational institutions in that.